This is the fastest way to go from zero to financially free.
All right, back
Amazing
with another
video.
This is how to go from zero to financially free as fast as we possibly can.
A subscriber
I'm just doing a
recommended
little POV non-highway drive. Figured I'd go around some nice houses, see some nice cars. I just saw an R8 before I started recording, but this is again more of a topics video. As always, pull up the kind of standard phone, make sure that we're reviewing the right topics. Step one, I'm not gonna waste any time. Step one, get monthly active income / cash flow. You literally need cash flow. There is no question about it. That is the only way you're gonna get ahead. The amount of times that in high school, even before I got my real 9 to 5 corporate where I was making half decent money, I was always trying to scratch my 2 pennies together, hoping it turns into $1. And yes, trading, Forex, crypto, all this stuff, you can sure hit, the lottery, hit the jackpot and turn money into something. But dude, the chance of that happening, instead of you just gaining more cash flow, getting more income, that is the only way. All the other steps I'm about to tell you on how to actually get rich come into play. Okay, you have to have something. I don't give a shit if you need to work at McDonald's, if you need to work a warehouse job, in term. If you can find a startup that has transferable skills, or you can find a job that you're able to put to work and skill stack, that's even better. That's amazing, right? That's actually the ideal scenario. But absolute worst case scenario, if I needed money tomorrow, I would literally just go start applying for sales jobs. I'm obviously biased, but I love sales jobs personally. That's what I would start with. And dude, again, I can't, I know I don't want to beat a dead horse, but you need cash flow for everything else that I'm about to tell you. It's just the facts. So focus on that first. Everything else becomes easier from there, and that's kind of it. Step two, if this is applicable to you, which for most people it is, pay off all bad debts. You can invest in the S&P, which is what we'll get into later. You can invest in a business, but if you have this
if you're struggling with debt, look up Dave Ramsey, the snowballing effect that he talks about in Debt. Perfect. I've used it even to get out of debt, so definitely look that up after this video.
Debt, call it credit card debt, because that's one of the worst ones. Eating all your gains up and some, it's not going to matter, right? You're never going to outrun that, debt beast, if you will. Nice Ferrari parked there. You're never going to be able to do it. You have to get ahead, and that is getting your head above water. And then you can't be, sitting below something and hoping that it turns into something else. You need cash flow. You need to pay off your debts. Okay, so again, if you've got a mortgage at a really low interest rate or an investment property or something like that, that's a little bit different. Okay, take this with a grain of salt. But I mean, auto loans, credit card loans, all this kind of stuff that just is not good. You need to squash that immediately. Pay that off. You're never going to beat your 20 to 30% interest rates at all. Okay, no questions asked. You need to fix that. You need to outrun that. And once you're at break even, or at least a positive net worth, that's solid. That's where we're getting good from that point. Step three from here, this is where things are getting more smooth. You've got some income coming in. I don't care if that's 20 grand a month, which I'm a big fan of, just cash flow businesses and whatnot.
What did you just say? 20 grand a month? The average person can't do that.
Three from here, this is where things are getting more smooth. You've got some income coming in. I don't care if that's 20 grand a month, which I'm a big fan of, just cash flow businesses and whatnot, or if that's 2 grand a month. It doesn't matter, right? Okay. Just find that middle ground. Make sure that your debts are paid off. Now you need to build the emergency fund. Okay. Whoo, is that an MC20?
He's saying everything that I tell you guys.
Right there. Yes, it is. That's a nice color too. That's nice.
Emergency fund allows you to become your own bank, essentially. When you need to borrow money, you can borrow on yourself.
What was I saying?
Rather than ask someone else to charge you interest.
The emergency fund. The emergency fund allows you to take more risk. The emergency fund allows you to mentally get that pressure off your back of whew, okay, I can actually do this, right? I'm not stuck here. I'm not in debt. Right, I've got some income coming in. You're building your position here, right? You're building your house and your solid foundation before trying to build a house on sticks, right? You're not gonna be able to do that. Like I said earlier, trading, it's dude, you don't have any money. You don't have any money to trade. It's embarrassing, right? So you need to get out of that pickle. And this is where I would say, if you want to benchmark everyone's number is different. My number is gonna be different from your number. Bill Gates' Mark Zuckerberg's number is gonna be different from ours too. It's count your expenses. I would say 3 minimum to 6 months living expenses.
If
you can, shoot for 12, shoot for a year.
You want a year.
Okay, that'd be awesome, because then that's your worst case scenario. You have flexibility to quit your job at that point. You can take some time off. You can start that business. You can do whatever, but minimum 3 months, ideally 6. I would honestly bump my minimum to 6. I'm just very risk averse that way, but not everyone has to do that. But you need that backfall. You don't need to freaking quit your job and go crazy, but you just need this money as like a worst case Hail Mary scenario, okay? Like this is absolute worst case. That's why it's called an emergency fund, okay? So stack that cash, get that saved as quickly as you can, and this honestly saves a lot of headache later down the road too, and it allows you to start throw some money into businesses, which we'll get into in a minute here. Step 4, this is where things get exciting, okay? You've got debts paid off, income coming in, your emergency fund is starting to stack or stacked. This is where invest everything you possibly can once bills are paid. And if you've done all the above and you're complaining to me about I don't have the money to invest, it's like, dude, if you just did the previous 3 steps, you will 100% have money to invest. Even if I don't care if it's $50, I don't care if it's $1,000, couple grand, I'm investing, multiple thousands of dollars a month into the S&P and to other, assets. I recommend you do the same. This is where things can get exciting. You have money working for you, right? You have money growing for you while you sleep. I like to take risks within my businesses day to day, and then my backfall is the S&P, is these very boring investments. I had a property, I sold that, but that was a good appreciation. That was a good store of, some wealth, if you will, for me at that stage. So I need you to do the same, because again, I made this mistake of not investing enough when I could have in the last couple of years. I cash flowed a lot for my business, and it was very stupid for me to just keep that in a checking account. I'm all for keeping money in a checking account for security reasons and seeing that number go up, but you have to get ahead, and that's investing your money, getting that money working for you, and kind of going from there. Step 5, find ways in every single possible way to increase your cash flow. I don't care if that's freelancing, I don't care if that's a side hustle, I don't give a shit if that's Uber, DoorDash, it doesn't matter. An extra $500 to $1,000 a month when you're in this stage goes a long way. And the way that I like to think about this is like, okay, this is when I started freelancing for my clients. That I'm for, whoo, that it is beautiful. The way that I started doing this was freelancing for my own and being like, okay, like that's awesome. This one pays for my groceries. This $500 a month pays for my groceries. This one pays for my utilities. Holy crap. Like this one pays for all of my rent. And then you get to a point where your freelance clients are starting to pay for everything and or match your salary, which is like insane, dude. It's like if you're spending 10 hours, 15, 20 hours a week working on your side hustle and you're working 40 hours a week for the same amount of money, it's like, it's just law of averages at that point. That's where it's like you can really seriously look at quitting your job and be like, holy crap, like I have multiple streams of income coming in here, I'm investing my money, and you're seeing that multiplied now, which is the most exciting part, which is amazing, right? So cash flow, you need cash flow. I don't care, again, what I said the first point of the video was like, dude, you're not gonna be able to be a millionaire in your 20s if you're only making so much money, and that includes $5,000 a month in your salary. That's just not enough, or even $10,000 a month. You need to increase your cash flow, your output, and I don't care if that means working more. If you're in your 20s, which is hopefully my demographic here, this applies to you. Take my advice. I'm now 26, and if I started this sooner, I probably would have stacked $1 million liquid a lot sooner than what I have. So that's kind of final stage. I would say, well, that wasn't the final stage. It was second final stage. Final stage right now is you need to start a business, okay? And I know not everyone wants to hear this. There are certain caveats to this where you can work a job, you can, be working at a startup and maybe it goes public, you get some stock options and you crush it. It's like, okay, like, sure, can it happen? Yes. Is it, likely? Probably not, right? You got to play the game there a little bit. You got to make sure that you're not fucking yourself, and you're making sure that you're placing your own bets into your own businesses, and you have full control, you have full autonomy at that point. You can eventually, like I said, quit your job. That's the most thing. So you need to start some type of high cash flow business. Again, I don't care if that's online service, if it's a boring business like window cleaning, or just like getting into a high ticket sales role at the minimum to get that taste. That's what I'd recommend. If you don't want to start a business, at least get a sales role, at least get some type of job. Throw this freaking AC on, it's boiling in here. You got to get something, dude. You got to get something working for you, because this is where the real money is made. This is where I stacked over $900,000 liquid between everything. This is where I made that most stride of money. And now I'm not able to retire for sure. I don't think $1 million or even $3-4 million is enough to retire, but it gave me a huge leg up over these last couple of years, because I made a little under $2 million in the last 3 years, essentially 36 months from running my agency. So this is a critical part for those who really want something serious and don't want to just spin their wheels working out other jobs and actually want to get ahead. This is the only way possible, okay? You have to start a business. And I know a lot of people don't want to hear that because it is uncomfortable. I get that, but it's just the only way right now. Okay, so hopefully you enjoyed the video. You know, if I had to sum this up, like if literally it was a too long didn't read, I hope you made it this far, but if a too long didn't read, the entire message, just start, just do it, stack cash, keep expenses low, do not get fancy, and you will never go broke this way. If you keep and live below your means.
Let's see the comments real quick before he finishes. So, always bring in the heat, brother. I love this content. Yeah, 100%. This was great. Even though it was a recommendation from a subscriber, absolutely great content because I align and agree with everything that he said right there. Gold. Okay. 4.5 million Canadian, 95% invested. Index funds, liquidate 5% every year. Make 6 figures for life without touching. I hear it. I hear it because it's the truth. It's the truth. Always bringing we already read that. Thank you. I'm almost done paying off my debt. I'm 24, almost 25 now, and I really want to be financially free. Everybody around the world right now, and even some of these comments that I'm seeing already, we all just want freedom. That's all it is. A lot of us don't even care so much about being rich. If you just wanted to be, people just want to be free and be in control of their own time, aka escaping the matrix. You know, that's what people are more concerned about. A lot of us aren't even greedy, or you just want all the millions to yourself, and you just want freedom, man. You don't want nobody telling you when and how to eat, where to clock in, what to do. You know, that's just the truth. I'm just being honest. But yeah, really great video. I agree. The biggest take from this is build an emergency fund. It will save you. You become your own bank. They don't want you to become your own bank and then they want you to keep borrowing from them. But if you're able to build your emergency fund, you technically become your own bank, because whenever you're in need of help, that's what most people go to the bank for, when they're in need, dying need, you just get to borrow against yourself and then replenish it next month if you can. If you can't, next 2 months, do whatever it takes to replenish that emergency fund back to where it was. Do you understand? But anyways, I don't want to talk too much. If you stayed, make sure you like the video. Go watch the rest of the video from his channel. There's the channel right there. And I like the video. Let me hear your thoughts in the comment section down below. Have you saved? How much do you have in the bank? Are you struggling? Do you invest? And let me know where you're watching from. I'll catch you in the next one. God bless.